I was never supposed to hear it. He thought I was asleep, curled up on the couch after one too many glasses of wine, but my eyes were closed, not my ears. The flickering TV lit the room in soft flashes, and his voice was barely above a whisper, but I heard every word. "I miss you," he said. "It's not the same with her." My breath caught in my throat. I didn't dare move. His phone was pressed to his ear, and he was pacing, like a man who didn't belong here. "I think about you all the time," he continued. "Even when I'm with her." My stomach twisted. Was I her now? A placeholder? The backup plan? I could hear the smile in his voice when he said her name. Not mine. Hers. I wanted to scream, to leap up and throw something, but I couldn't. I stayed still, paralyzed, forcing myself to breathe evenly while every part of me shattered from the inside out. Then came the final blow, a soft laugh, and the words that would end everything. "If you told me to, I'd leave her right now." Before I tell you what happened next, make sure you're alone, because what you're about to hear might just break your heart too. I didn't move until I heard the click of the bathroom door. He always went in there after long calls, probably to stare at his reflection and pretend he wasn't destroying someone's life. I lay still, my body stiff against the couch, every word he said replaying in my mind like a broken record. "I miss you." I'd leave her right now. Who even was I to him anymore? I opened my eyes and stared at the ceiling, wondering how I didn't see it before. The late-night texts he never let me read. The sudden smiles he'd hide when he glanced at his phone. The way he stopped touching me, not in a dramatic way, but gradually, like I was fading from his world and he was too cowardly to tell me. I tiptoed to the bedroom, crawled under the covers, and when he returned, I pretended to be asleep again. His side of the bed dipped, and I could feel him there, next to me, breathing calmly, like he hadn't just set our entire future on fire. The next morning, I acted normal. I poured coffee. I kissed his cheek. I asked about his meeting. But inside, I was observing, documenting, storing every word, every expression. I needed to know, was he planning to leave me anyway? Or was I just convenient until she said yes? Later that day, I did something I'm not proud of. I went through his phone. I knew the passcode, of course I did. We were engaged. There was supposed to be no secrets. But his phone was a vault of betrayals. Messages from her: "I dreamed about you again last night. She doesn't get you the way I do. Say the word and I'll come back." And his replies were worse. He wasn't shutting it down. He was feeding it. Encouraging it. Telling her he was confused, that our wedding felt rushed, that he needed time to think. What was all this for, then? The venue, the invitations, the stupid cake tasting I cried over because the raspberry filling reminded me of our first date? I felt sick. I stared at the screen, hands trembling, until I heard the front door open. I slammed the phone down, heart racing, and rushed to the sink to splash water on my face. He walked in with that same practiced smile. The same one he probably used on her once. "Everything okay?" he asked, pressing a kiss to my temple. I nodded. "Just tired." He hugged me from behind, arms looping around my waist like nothing was wrong. "Only a few more weeks, babe. Then we're officially stuck with each other." Stuck. Was that how he saw it? A sentence? That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept picturing him on the phone, whispering words I was never supposed to hear. I imagined her voice on the other end, sweet and smug, like she knew she still had him. And maybe she did. I started crafting a plan. I needed to know how deep this ran, and more importantly, I needed to know if he was still talking to her. Because if he was, I wasn't going to sit around waiting to be replaced. I was going to burn it all down first. The next few days felt like living with a stranger. He was affectionate, even overly so, bringing home flowers for no reason, planning surprise dinners, sending I love you texts in the middle of the day. If I hadn't heard that call, I might have believed he was the perfect fiancé. But now I knew. Now I could see the desperation behind his charm, the panic of a man trying to keep two lives from crashing into each other. So I leaned in. I played the doting fiancé. I told him how excited I was for the wedding. I asked if he wanted to practice our first dance. I even suggested a weekend getaway, just the two of us, to reconnect. And while he smiled and nodded and played along, I watched his eyes. They were always somewhere else. That weekend, I waited until he was in the shower and propped up his phone with a second one I borrowed from my sister. I recorded the entire thing. His phone, open, unlocked, resting on the counter while steam filled the room. I recorded the notifications, 3 of them from her. The names weren't saved, but I recognized the tone. Still thinking about you, wish you were here, I miss our talks. He came out with a towel slung around his waist and kissed me like nothing was wrong. I smiled, kissed him back, and excused myself to the balcony. I needed air, and time to process. I had everything I needed now. The messages, the voice, the lies. But I wasn't sure yet what I wanted to do with them. Was I going to confront him? Cancel the wedding? Or get revenge in a way he'd never forget? The problem was, I still loved him. Or at least, I loved the version of him I thought I was marrying. The man who stayed up late helping me prep for interviews, who remembered how I took my coffee, who danced with me barefoot in the kitchen. That man, was he ever real? The next morning, I asked the question that had been eating at me for days. Do you ever talk to anyone from your past? He looked up from his cereal, spoon midair. What do you mean? I don't know, I said, casual. Like, old friends. Exes. He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. Nope. Why would I? I stared at him for a moment. Just wondering. Liar. Later that day, I met up with someone I hadn't spoken to in years, Ben. He was my college ex, the one who broke me so thoroughly I swore I'd never trust again. But time has a way of softening edges, and I needed perspective, and maybe, deep down, I wanted to remind myself that I wasn't as disposable as my fiancé was making me feel. Ben still looked the same, tall, easy smile, that stupid dimple I used to kiss when I thought the world was safe. We talked for hours, catching up, laughing in ways I hadn't in months. And then, when he reached across the table and touched my hand, I didn't pull away. I felt guilty, but not for the reason I should have. It wasn't about cheating. It was about realizing how easily I could. How easily I could fall into someone else's arms if I stopped trying to convince myself I was the lucky one in this engagement. When I got home, my fiancé was already there. Dinner on the table. Candles lit. Jazz playing low. Date night at home, he said, grinning like a man in control. I almost laughed. I played along. I kissed him. I toasted to forever. And when he pulled me into his lap and whispered, I can't wait to call you my wife, I kissed his neck and whispered back, me too. Because I wasn't done yet. I needed to know just how far he'd go to keep his mask on, and how much it would hurt when I finally ripped it off. The cracks started showing that week, little things at first. He got more possessive, more attentive in the wrong ways. Asking where I'd been, what I was doing, who I was texting. At first, I thought it was guilt. But then I realized something worse. He wasn't guilty, he was scared. Maybe he felt it in my body when he touched me. That slight pull away. The delay in my kisses. The way I didn't smile with my eyes anymore. Or maybe he just knew, deep down, that his little fantasy world was slipping through his fingers, and I wasn't going to save it. He caught me looking at his phone one night. It was face down on the nightstand. I didn't even touch it, just glanced. But that was enough. You don't trust me? He asked, voice low, eyes dark. I blinked. Should I? He stared at me for a moment, then forced a laugh. Of course you should. I'm about to marry you. I said nothing. He didn't press further. But after that, he started being more careful. He put a passcode on his phone. Took calls in the car. Locked his laptop when he left the room. It was laughable, the damage was already done. I had the receipts. He just didn't know it yet. What he didn't know. I had also created a new email, one that looked eerily like his, just one letter off. And from that email, I messaged her. I didn't pretend to be him, that would have been too risky. Instead, I played the curious third party. Hey, just wanted to ask, are you still in contact with my fiancé's name? I think my friend might be dating him too. Just trying to make sure no one's getting played. It took her less than 20 minutes to reply. Oh wow, yeah, we've been talking again for months. He said he's confused. Told me he might end his engagement if things feel right between us again. Has he really moved on? I nearly threw my phone across the room. Months. Not just a phone call. Not a one-time thing. Ongoing. He was building a plan B while I was planning a wedding. I replied, pretending to be the friend, feeding her just enough info to keep her talking. She sent screenshots. I sent fake sympathy. And in the process, I learned the worst truth of all, he wasn't confused. He was calculating. Every message he sent her was perfectly crafted. I need time. She's great, but I don't know if she's you. We rushed this. He never said he loved her. He never said he hated me. He just kept both options open, like we were clothes hanging in his closet, waiting to be picked out for the day. That night, I sat across from him at dinner and asked, do you ever think about what life would have been like if you chose someone else? He looked up slowly. Why would you ask that? Just wondering. He set his fork down. Is this about something specific? Would it matter? He paused, then smiled. No. Because I chose you. And I smiled too, because he had no idea how temporary that choice was about to become. But before I did anything, I had one more thing to do. I asked him to take me to visit my grandmother's cottage, 2 hours out of town. He loved that place. Said it felt peaceful. I wanted to trap him somewhere quiet, somewhere with no distractions, no phone service, and nowhere to hide. We drove out the next weekend. I packed wine, candles, a playlist we made in our first year together. He was giddy, thought I was falling back in love or some cinematic nonsense. He didn't know I had a flash drive in my bag with everything on it, the recordings, the screenshots, the messages. He also didn't know I'd invited one more guest to the cottage, someone who deserved to hear the truth in person. Her. We arrived late in the afternoon. The lake was still, golden light spilling over the water like everything was calm, like the world didn't know what was about to happen. He unloaded our bags, humming that same stupid song he used to sing when we first fell in love. I let him. Let him feel in control, let him believe the illusion for one more hour. Inside, I lit candles, opened wine, played the playlist. He kissed my neck. Told me this felt right. I smiled. Told him I had a surprise for him. He raised an eyebrow. What kind of surprise? You'll see, I whispered. Just sit. Listen. I pulled the flash drive from my coat pocket and plugged it into the laptop. The screen lit up, and I pressed play. His voice filled the room. I miss you. It's not the same with her. He froze. If you told me to, I'd leave her right now. His face drained. What is this? I didn't answer. Just clicked to the next file, screenshots of their texts. The calls. The recordings. The message she sent when I posed as a friend. He looked like a man unraveling, because he was. You were spying on me, he said, trying to flip the script. No, I said calmly. I was waking up. Then came the knock. He turned toward the door, confused. I opened it. And there she was, just as pretty as I imagined, maybe even more. She didn't look smug. She looked shaken. I'd told her in the final email what I planned. She agreed to come, to hear it all, see him for who he really was. What the hell is this? He snapped, standing now, panicked. Why is she here? Because, I said, my voice steel, you lied to both of us. He started to stammer, excuses, half-truths, but she held up a hand. Don't, she said. I know everything now. It was surreal, the three of us standing in that tiny wooden cabin, surrounded by flickering candles and fading dreams. I watched him crumble, watched the carefully constructed tower of his ego collapse. She turned and left first, no drama, no tears. Just silence. He followed her to the door, begging, reaching for her arm, but she shrugged him off like he was nothing. And me? I stood in the center of it all. Calm. Cold. Free. He came back inside, face red with fury. You ruined everything, he said. No, I said. You did. I picked up the ring and placed it gently on the table between us. I would have married you, you know. I really would have. His eyes welled up. Please. I loved you, I interrupted. That was real. But you made me feel like a placeholder. Like I was plan B while you waited to see if she wanted you back. He didn't deny it. He couldn't. I walked past him, grabbed my bag, and stepped outside. The night air was cold. I didn't look back. I didn't need to. Driving away, I didn't feel victorious. I didn't feel powerful. I felt empty, like grief had hollowed me out and left just the shell of a woman who thought love meant sacrifice. But in that emptiness, something new was blooming. Not hope, not yet. But clarity. And that was enough.